Bear! Woo!
So, I actually did have a bit of a talent that went with this because
only when it comes to
I was like my body into this shirt.
This is G-rated, man.
This one was even a little tighter than the last one too. But I squeezed into this in a set of bike shorts for a 2-day bike trip, which shorts have been retired for a while. Because I just finally came back to form, if you will. But basically, I did a bike ride with some friends of mine, and a few years ago, a friend of mine who makes me look like when we were living together, I was the little roommate, and he did this ride, and it's called the PMC, the Pan Mass Challenge, and we raised money for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and the Jimmy Fund. And last year they raised $35 million for the Dana-Farber and the Jimmy Fund, of which all the money, 100% of the donations actually went to that charity, which is pretty amazing, where like 60% of their total income for the year comes from this bike ride that we have. And so it was funny where I had a lot of people saying, what made you think to do this? And I think a lot of you probably know that my mom passed away some years ago with brain cancer. She had a glioblastoma, and you know, that was a pretty big hit to the family. You know, whole cancer thing, and never, you know, it's always kind of an arm's length away until it hits your family, as we all here well could know and appreciate that. And it doesn't come easy when it hits the family either, you know. And so, you know, and you deal with it, and you run through different things, and you know, you kind of wanted to give back, and so this just seemed like a great opportunity to finally do that. And then, you know, again, with the encouragement of some of my friends who've gone through that, and then another group of guys pulled me into their group to do this ride this year. And what was pretty neat is that we kind of teamed up with another group there, and we were really inspired by this one guy's son who is 11 years old and has beaten cancer thus far. He had leukemia at the age of 9. And so they went through this whole routine with his son, you know, going through cancer. And this guy put this amazing video together that, you know, would bring you to tears just looking at the video of this whole piece there. And he was saying how he could see how he saw his son transform into this other person, you know, going through chemo, going through radiation, and you know, it's a tough thing to see. You know, we see our loved ones go through this, and but you know, as he went through some of these changes, what was amazing is that their spirit never changed. And so, as the kid was leaving the hospital, they went through and they saw actually this little tattoo. That wasn't a tattoo. They saw a thing on the walkway on the way out, and he said to his dad, "Dad, why don't we do that? You know, why don't you do the bike ride?" And so his father started doing the bike ride, and so we got pulled into this group here. And what was, you know, amazing as you're going through the race, the different things to get you to go there. And so I'd reached out to a lot of people and sent out an email to a lot of people asking them to help to sponsor me for this race. And in a matter of 2 days, I think I had over $4,000 come in from friends and family for this event, and it was just mind-blowing just to see how quick everybody was willing to respond to this whole piece. And then the words of encouragement that came from everybody were just unbelievably touching, you know. And then you start seeing how this stupid disease has affected so many people out there. And then to know that, you know, part of my message that I sent out there was that, you know, looking to raise money for this ride that we've got. We had such a unique setup this year where the guy who put this together, he basically strong-armed a couple of major companies to match every dollar that we would put in. And so he actually had 3 hedge fund companies agree to match every dollar that we raised. And so I raised a total of, it's probably going to be somewhere around $7,500 in the end, which, thank you guys, thank you. A lot of you guys donated and all, and that $7,500 is actually going to be $30,000 that we're going to give to the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Just on my part alone, our team as a whole, we raised about $200,000 so far, which would be $800,000 to the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. So, but it was, you know, it was great seeing the inspiration from you know, from people sending the email into, didn't really make me think, oh shit, people gave me money, now I really got to do this ride. I figured
Do the ride or wear the shirt.
I figured worst case scenarios, I just had to throw all the money myself, but I wouldn't have to ride. I'm still kind of wondering why, if you raise money, you have to ride. I figured you'd have to. If you raise money, you shouldn't have to ride. But the ride was 192 miles over, 197 miles over 2 days, and we went from Sturbridge, Mass, to the Mass Maritime Academy. It was right at the Bourne Bridge for the first day. That's a little over 100 miles. And the second day, you get to wake up and at 5:30 leave to climb over the Bourne Bridge, and then all the way to P-Town. And so, you know, between everybody, backed me from that and was really inspired to get me out for that. The night before, they had a great ceremony talking about some people who have fought cancer and won, and others who have fought it and haven't won. They had one story of this guy who was talking about his son, who at 17, I think 16 actually, I don't recall what he had, but it was like a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or something. He passed away, and about 6 months later, when sometimes you're out of school, you give a little letter and you write some poems, and a few months later they mailed them back to the household and all that. And they got these poems back from his teacher after he passed away, and it was these poems about his bike and how he loved his mountain bike. He had this mountain bike and all this, and they had all these pictures of him on the bike, and the kid loved the bike. And so then Dad decided a few years back that he started riding that bike in the Pan Mass Challenge, 192 miles on this kid's mountain bike, and just amazing. And it was the coolest thing. And I was in tears afterwards. I'm driving. I'm like, oh my God, there's the guy. So I stopped and I rode next to him and talked to him for a couple minutes. You know, I wasn't just doing it to catch my breath. It was a nice little side bonus. But you couldn't help but be choked up by the efforts that these people were putting in, and just the love that it showed for their family for these efforts here. And so all the inspiration of getting in there the first day was just amazing. And of course, you question yourself, working up this thing, can you do it, can you do it? And so, of course, the last 30 miles were absolutely miserable because apparently a guy my size sweats a lot on a ride like this. And it was the hottest day they've had in the ride in years and years. And so if you don't get enough water and salts in your body as you're going, your legs start to cramp up. And so I had to keep pulling over to stretch out. And then my knucklehead brother-in-law, he's like, you know one of these vans could bring you to the end. You can just throw your bike in and they could give you a ride to the end. I'm like, if I got to crawl on my hands and knees, I'm not going to go this far and have the van bring me in. And I got through that day, and then of course I'm sweating it out already, thinking about, am I going to be able to make the next day? But my inspiration on that day was the fact that I was going to have my boys Jack and Luke meeting me. Not that bad, is it?
Actually, it's just sounding off the way you were feeling.
Knowing that we were going to be meeting them halfway to see Jack and Luke on the trip, and then to know that Trish was going to be at the end waiting for me, was just another great inspiration to really drive through that next day. On which the second day went great. I mean, there was no cramping up and all that stuff. It was a great ride. And at the end, we had everybody who, they made these shirts for us as well on our team, and they're just so well organized. And so our team name was Team Perseverance. None of us could figure out who Meg was, by the way. And then
I know who Meg was. She was a little girl that was in the hospital with John's son who had leukemia. Cover shot that little girl passed away.
Okay, great. Great for the story.
That's what happens on the sideline. You get the side story.
You should have been up there too.
It would have been a lot longer. Gives you every detail. And so at the last mile, so we'd all ridden the 190 some odd miles. The last mile, we all waited for everybody to get the whole team together to ride in as a whole group. So we had 20 of us, some odd of us riding in together. And then on the back, what was really neat is that they it says, "Some loss or battle, all inspires to keep fighting the war." And they had you could put in different names of people who in memory of, and then people who are in the fight still, and then survivors. And just seeing so many different names, and part of what got me to do it in the first place is that there was too many people that this was in memory of, and the tree was just too lopsided. But just to see that the green side of the survivors keeps growing more and more is something I think that'll keep me going on the ride again too. I'm pretty sure I've got Jim talked into going with me next year, Jim. We'll work that out. We'll work that out.
My L5.
But then coming here today and seeing Bert today, and hoping to see that Bert was hopping around more than she is right now. It does take money to fight cancer. There's no two ways about it. To get these people out there from the research standpoint. And then it was amazing hearing the guy from the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute talk about the fact that what they do with this money is that if they didn't have this money, there would be so much less research being done, because they're able to do things instead of waiting for federal funds to come out. They're able to take these monies and bring drugs to market far sooner than they would otherwise. To get some of these young, talented people to be able to stay there and continue to find answers for some of this. And so it's a great cause. It was a great ride, and something that we'll do again. And certainly for everybody here and the like, we'll continue to try and raise money to make it so that we're not talking about people in the fight. We're just talking about people who are surviving. That's it. Any questions, comments?
There you go, Larry.